Hi guys, this is Mandy from Mandy Lee Plays, and in today's discussion video, I am going to discuss something that's very common in the gaming sphere, and that is frame rate. Hopefully, this will spark discussion because frame rate is very debated on, and I'm just gonna talk to you about that. So, frame rate is basically how many frames per second your PC or console can render an image on the screen. So one misconception I used to have was that a higher frame rate meant that the game goes faster. And while that is true, I didn't know that it makes the game move smoother, like more fluid. And so it's not necessarily speed, it's more like fluidity. So that was what I thought, and now I know better. 60 FPS is, the holy grail of FPSs. There are higher FPSs. It could go way high, but you need a beast of a computer to run that. So we're just gonna talk about us normal folks, and 60 FPS is like something we should, console players should strive for. But sadly, we have a lot of limitations. Why isn't God of War running at 60? There's a lot of factors that go into play here, like your monitor, what it could take, because usually if you have let's say a graphics card that could run 60 but your monitor can't, it will usually default to 30 because that's what your monitor could take, and most TVs run at 30. So that's, could kind of play into why consoles are stuck at 30, because they're made for TVs. There's ways to sever the connection where you could get the FPS and not be locked down by your monitor, but that sometimes causes tears. So there's that. There's no real clear-cut answer in this video, but so competitively, 60 FPS is a must because you have that response time, performance a lot sharper and quicker. Very vital to winning a game, or first-person shooters, very fast-paced games like racing games too would also strive for that. But there's always a but in something. So in this case, 30 FPS has that more cinematic feel, which is true because I think movies run at 24, 26, somewhere that ballpark. And so games want that feel too. They even get motion blur sometimes. Motion blur back then was a bad thing, but now it's used as a feature. So FPS is so important in the gaming industry more than the movies or TV, because you have that response rate and you have more input into what you're doing, so you're really aware of how you're moving. So that's why in a movie you don't go, this movie isn't 60. I have console eyes, so I'm pretty much used to 30, 60, anywhere in between. I'm not as picky as some people, but I do see why games should strive for 60, because it is sharper, it is smoother, has that crisp feel, and in my opinion, I prefer it more than 4K. And that's another problem us console players have to face is most games prioritize resolution over performance, which is FPS. 4K, 2K, 1080p requires a lot of power, and unfortunately we don't have the console to go 4K 60 FPS at a stable rate. And that's the most important part. You don't want a game that drops frames. It's very bad. So most console games run at 30 to have that guaranteed stability, as in 60, and it has frame rate drops all over the board, because that just ruins the game. You do need a beast of a computer to run a 4K 60 FPS a game. So it's not, you can't have a mid-tier PC run all your things, but with the PC you can choose which one you prefer, so there's more of a, you have more of a choice with the PC, as in a console it's pretty much locked. So that's my input on FPS. I think we should, you know, start getting that 60 for more games. And like I said, they do remake a lot of old games to run at 60 because they don't have a higher graphical fidelity. So I do think consoles need to head into the direction of 60. I don't think that a 30 FPS game would, you know, make it a bad game. Honestly, I've played a lot of 30 FPS games. It just depends on the game. Some games you could tell more than others. Some games are not really as fast paced, so a lot of leeway could be put into it. And like I said, some people like that cinematic feel, so you know, that 30 FPS with the motion blur, some people do like that. And so yeah, there's something for everybody. And yeah, that's all I wanted to discuss in this discussion. Please leave your comments below because I want to know which frame rate you guys prefer, or what other things I missed, because I know I'm not an expert in this stuff. So I probably missed something along the line. So let me know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please hit that like button. And if you like videos like this and many more, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day and play a good game. Bye.